Audio Karate's 5 favorite Epitaph records. Not necessarily saying these are the best records, although I'm kind of saying they're the best records. These are more those that had the biggest influence on Audio Karate's music, and I think if you listen very closely, you can hear the influence pretty obviously once it's explained. So let's get into them. Punk and Drublic by NOFX. Definitely the best of all the NOFX records, by far, hands down, bar none. And really what I'm basing that on is the songs are fantastic, the record flows from start to finish seamlessly, and if you listen to White Trash, Two Hebes and a Bean, they had gotten to their sound that would sort of be the hallmark. I'd argue Ribbed got them close. White Trash really started to sound like what all NOFX records and really what all Fat Records would sound like in the future. But Punk and Drublic solidifies it. The production is fantastic. This record was released in 1994, and fun fact, was recorded at West Beach Recorders in Hollywood, California, where Audio Karate recorded Space Camp. I can recall living in Highland Park, which is northeast Los Angeles, at the time that the record came out, and I had it on cassette. And I was still going to middle school in Montebello, which is about a 30 to 45 minute drive depending on traffic, if you know LA. And my mom allowed me to listen to that cassette every morning on the way to school. That would have been the probably 6th or 7th grade. So huge shout out to you, Mom. Thank you for putting up with NOFX. I distinctly remember saying, I like the beat and I like the rhythm, but why does he sing like that? And Mom, I don't have a good answer for you, but Punk and Drublic is by far the best NOFX records and definitely had a huge impact on all of Audio Karate. So much so that we have covered Linoleum several times, and I don't know that we really do it justice. Next up, Hot Water Music's Caution, which came out in 2002, so that would have been the fall after we released Space Camp, and we were humongous fans from the beginning. It's super cool. It's got super gravelly vocals, and if you listen to Art, I don't think that he was necessarily trying to bite off of them, but I think one can draw the mental comparison between Hot Water Music's vocalist and Art's singing on Lady Melody pretty easily. Bass playing's awesome, the guitars sound warm and good, the energy is good. It's probably it's definitely my favorite Hot Water Music record, but Gabriel had this on CD and we listened to it at least 1,000 times in the van during our touring years. We enjoyed Brian McTernan's production of the record so much so that when Kung Fu asked us who we wanted to produce Lady Melody, we said Jerry Finn, and then they laughed and said we couldn't afford Jerry Finn, and then we immediately said Brian McTernan because we wanted the record to sound like Hot Water Music. That didn't pan out. I don't know why per se. He probably hated the songs, but things that are supposed to happen in life, I've kind of, as I've gotten older, realized tend to happen. Bill Stevenson did the record at Blasting Room, and the rest is sort of history there. But damn, Caution is a really good record. The Hives, Veni Vidi Vicious. This one was released in 2000, but I don't think we stumbled upon it until after 2002 or so. Justo and Gabriel, not big Hives guys. Art and I played the crap out of this record. It's such a good record. It's kind of like a Misfits record, but by European dudes that all wear matching suits. I distinctly remember when we went to demo the first songs for Lady Melody, so that's Segway, She Looks Good, Miss Foreign Friendly, Lady Melody, Who Brings a Knife to a Gunfight, and there was one more in there. We laid down all the rhythm and musical tracks, and then Art went into the booth to sing, and he was screaming his head off, and we were all like, what the hell? Like, we hadn't heard him sing anything like that or any of the songs like that, and he was definitely trying to do Howling Pele or however you pronounce his name from the Hives. Damn good record. Here's where things get much more challenging. There will probably be a mutiny, but I would say my personal favorite of all the Epitaph records, and it's by far the best Epitaph record in terms of flow, songwriting, production, just the sort of social impact it had at the time of its release, and that would be Rancid's album And Out Come the Wolves. This one was released in 1995, so I was 13 years old, and I was already a Rancid fan. My first show was on the Let's Go tour at the Palladium in Hollywood. My brother took me. I had no business being there. I got my nose busted in the pit, little tiny 12-year-old Jason. Super fun. Let's Go was a really good record. It had Salvation and Radio, and Salvation was on MTV and was a hit on K-Rock commercial radio in Los Angeles. But And Out Come the Wolves solidified, like, start to finish. I think there's 19 or 20 songs on that record. Not one of them's a dud. They're all fantastic. That record's just super, super badass. It's the best Rancid record. Like, where do you go from there? It's not even a knock on Rancid that they never really achieved that ever again. Because lightning doesn't strike twice. Like, you make a record like that, you may as well just quit. It's that good. The rest of the band at the time, like back in the 90s and early 2000s, really weren't Rancid fans. I was probably the only diehard Rancid guy. But then we did Warped Tour in 03 and 04 and got to see Rancid every day, and they're just so entertaining and tight, and it really speaks volumes when you see them live about how good their songs are. So I feel like everyone's kind of come around since then, but yeah, fantastic record. And the collective Audio Karate classic, if you know anything about the band, this one will come as no surprise at all. That would be 1996's Descendants, Everything Sucks. We love Descendants. They're the best punk band, bar none. Everything Sucks. We were already big fans prior to, skateboarding teenagers, and we'd probably been into punk kind of collectively for like 2 or 3 years. And then this was before the internet, so you kind of hear from a friend of a friend, or you're at like a record shop and you get Mean Street or Scratch Magazine, which were sort of magazines of the day that punk labels like Epitaph would advertise in. And it was like, oh wow, Descendants are coming back and they're doing a record. And that record's just so strong. Like, it's really, really good. From the opener, Everything Sucks, to the closer, Thank You, which I cannot listen to Thank You without crying. I can't even talk about the song without wanting to cry. And I think that just speaks volumes about how good the record and the band are. Creating songs where just the thought of the melodies and the lyrics brings someone to tears. That's what it's all about. That's why any of us listen to music, right? Audio Karate minus me, because I don't think my mom let me out that night. Got to go see Descendants at the Whiskey. They did like several nights. This was leading up to the full tour for that record. God, I want to say the guys saw them with AFI as the opener, but there was a night where Strung Out were the openers. It was like a who's who of 90s sort of fat Epitaph era punk bands opening for Descendants, because everyone bows down at the end of the day to Bill and the guys. So there you have it. The 5 best Epitaph records based on nothing more than how Audio Karate feels about them. Please comment below what your 5 favorite Epitaph records are, so I can comment on them and tell you all the reasons why you're wrong. And although they're good records, Donkey Kong sucks. Please like the video, subscribe, and support the channel. Costs you nothing, but hopefully it will help us get out of the $70,000 debt we still owe to Cleopatra Records.